Phil Rucker, we quoted 3 Washington Post reports. We could have quoted 6 more. It's been a remarkable 12 to 20 hours on this White House beat. Talk about this White House sort of ping-ponging in incomprehensible ways at times on their posture of reopening and saying he has the authority to do it, then saying 12 hours later he'll defer to the governors, blaming the World Health Organization after first blaming states and blaming others. Where is this White House now? It appears to be in a bit of a free fall message-wise.
I think that's right, Nicole. And you've seen the last 2 days the president's mercurial nature on public display. But privately, our reporting shows that he has been adamant about that May 1st timetable, and they've not been able to move him at all. And there's a collective thinking inside the White House right now that decision's been made, all but made by the president. He wants the country to begin to reopen on May 1st. And the effort right now in these next 15 days before May 1st is to try to, build public support around that timetable so that the president's not out there all alone and that he has some political protection. That's why you see so many business leaders being added to this long list the White House has put out of CEOs who are going to be consulted over the next few days. But B, to try to figure out how to stagger this so that you can have some of these more rural states start to reopen where the risk might be lower, and then have other states follow suit. And of course, as you noted rightfully, this is a choice for the governors to make. The president wants to make his decision, and he will probably announce something to the country, but it's really the governors who are going to decide, and the mayors too, whether to change the orders that exist in their states right now.
Phil Rucker, I'm going to put you on the spot. Tony Fauci said yesterday, quote, "We are not there yet," when asked about May 1st, and he added that the May 1st date is, quote, a bit overly optimistic. What is the White House political arm's plan to contain or overrule Tony Fauci?
Well, part of what they're trying to do, Nicole, is shift the blame away from the president so that the president can declare that things are starting to reopen. But if there's any mistake that's made or any sort of second resurgence of the disease or an outbreak in a place where people are going back to work, there's a governor that they can blame, or there's public health officials who by then might have come out to say that they support what the president's doing, or that there are other people that the president can point his finger at. But he's adamant about this May 1st timetable, despite what Tony Fauci and what other medical experts and scientists are warning. And the big problem right now is testing. Yes, testing has improved over the last couple of weeks, but we're still not at the pace where enough Americans are being tested from this disease to give local and state leaders the confidence that they need to give the green light for businesses, for schools, for churches, for other gathering places in their states to reopen.
Ben Rhodes, I'm at a loss for a more elegant way to say this, but it's bat bleep crazy to think that governors are going to take the blame for something that Fauci advised against. The governors are going to call Tony Fauci and say, hey, should I open up my state? What do you think? Is it safe to relax social distancing policies? Will we be okay? And I'm guessing that if Tony Fauci thinks that, quote, we are not there yet, that he's going to say no. This seems unsophisticated and craven, and it seems like it will lead to what they have already done, which is endanger more Americans.
Yeah, Nicole, the common thread here is you should listen to the public health experts. And frankly, in February, when Trump was saying this was totally under control, saying we had 15 cases going down to 0, a lot of governors and mayors had to make tough decisions to move to social distancing before President Trump got there. And made those decisions because they listened to public health experts. And they saved probably many thousands of lives by listening to public health experts and not listening to President Trump when we move to social distancing. So I think if you look around the country, citizens, mayors, and governors are going to be making decisions about when it is safe for people to go back to work, not on President Trump's political timeline. May 1st is an arbitrary date that he's picking because it's the beginning of the next month, not because of any science that suggests that that's the time when people should go back out. In the same way, by the way, Nicole, that he said Easter was going to be the date when people could go back to church.
Right.
I think we as a country need to listen to the experts here, and unfortunately, the President of the United States is not listening to them.
Well, and I want to get to the World Health Organization, but I want to get you and Claire in on this. He's also the science and health experts are the new deep state actors that believe that the intelligence assessments about Russia's attack on our 2016 election were part of some deep state conspiracy. He is positioning, and if you spend 10 minutes on conservative media, you see them sort of softening the ground to make this a right-left, and experts are aligned with the left in wanting to keep the government closed. Nobody wants the economy and nobody wants things closed. People just don't want to open it at the expense of costing human lives. I mean, and Trump is placing the political concerns ahead of the others. What do you make, though, of the fact that he has jammed this through his, one-trick pony kind of political frame of, if you're for science, if you're for health, if you're for experts, you're part of the deep state conspiracy that's against me?
Well, it's completely in line with how he's governed from the beginning of his administration, so it's no surprise that he would do that in a crisis. The experts are the people you need the most. They're the people who've been around. They're the people who, by definition, like Tony Fauci, have been in jobs across multiple administrations. That is the resource that Donald Trump has as president of the United States. And yet that is not who he is turning to, because every day, at every turn in this crisis, what we see is he prides his short-term political interests above doing what is necessary for public health. And frankly, Nicole, if you open up too soon and there's a reemergence of this virus, we'll have to shut down again, and the economic impact will be even worse, in the same way that the economic impact was worse because we didn't move to social distancing fast enough. And we see it across the board. I mean, I do want to just say no public health expert in the world would suggest that a pandemic is a time to cut off funding for the World Health Organization that's helping to fight that pandemic.
Right.
And so it's just a president who's putting his political interest ahead of any kind of rational response that you would need to deal with this crisis.
Claire McCaskill, I have this worry all the time that because of the way Trump is and the reporting that obviously is the lifeblood of this program, reporting from Phil Rucker and his colleagues and other news organizations, we have to cover just things that you would never even say about any of our past presidents, that inside the White House there's a scramble to open up the country against basically the advice of health experts without Trump getting blamed. I mean, just talk about how sort of low the bar is under which Donald Trump is playing at the most dire and urgent and important and tragic moment, not just of his presidency, but of the last, basically since 9/11.
It's interesting, Nicole. I think Americans right now, while everyone wants to go back to work and everyone wants to go back to school and everyone wants to go back to church, mostly what Americans want is to be safe and to have a strong leader that can show the way through this crisis. And clearly we have anything but that. We have a massively insecure man who is focused on one thing, and that is his reelection. And he's in a boxed canyon, because he always thought his reelection depended on the strength of the economy, right? And now the economy is in. So he is manically trying to get the economy back. And he's doing that without thinking about the fact that the governors and the mayors, where most of the country's economic activity are in fact going to depend on scientists. They're Democrats. They're not going to go along with him. He may get some red state rural governors to defy the public health experts, but that's not what the engine of our economy is in this country. That's not, I mean, if you look at the places that have been hit the hardest, that's where so much of our economic activity comes from. And that's where you have Democratic governors, county executives, and mayors. So I just want to pray for Fauci right now. I want him to stay strong, because he is going to end up having tremendous pressure on him. Can you imagine what they're going to try to do to him?
No.
They're going to try to make him say it's okay. So stay strong, Dr. Fauci. We need you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.